Hey there, YouTube. WhiskeyCactus here, welcoming you back to our Let's Play of The Letter. This is episode number 35. In the last episode, Ashton made a decision to go to the mansion by himself on Halloween night because he's a dumbass. but he has made that decision, and Zach came out and said, don't do that, and Ashton's like, fuck it, I'm doing that. And so Zachary said, if you're not back in 4 hours, we're gonna come find you. So my guess is that's going to happen, and everybody's going to wind up in the mansion on Halloween night, because that just seems like the way this story is going to go. But let's find out. The sun hangs lower when I stumble back into consciousness and drag myself downstairs. Around this time, the patrons usually start to trickle into the main lounge, until it reaches a peak around midnight. Today, however, it remains thin. But considering what day it isn't too worrisome for the kind of business G runs. He is always lack of a decent crowd on week start, although he doesn't really begrudge his customers for it. No one wants to start the week with a bad case of a hangover, after all, even him. Which makes the concerned look he gives me come off a bit too odd. The kind of danger we're in, this swiftly puts me on the edge, even before sleep completely fades from my mind.
Something wrong, G?
G hums, but there's an undertone of annoyance in it, despite his casual and open movements. And only after he finishes wiping a tumbler and carefully settles it face down on the table does he give me an answer. The way he stares back at me honestly makes me squirm. It feels like I'm being stared down by my primary school teacher for sleeping in class again.
Nothing much. Monday's still a slow day for this place. But you might want to check on your friends, kids. Looks like one of them woke up on the wrong side of the bed while you were out.
What? Another question forms in my head along with a small confused frown. Oh, is Isabella gonna, come with us? I bet you. I bet you, Isabella. Though before a single syllable slips past my mouth, oh, never mind. Rebecca's irate voice rings out from some part of the main lounge. From the sound of it, it appears woke up on the wrong side of the bed as a complete understatement.
Alone? You know we can't just go in there. But we don't have any other choice, Becca. There's really no other way. We have to go there. If you'll just...
Well.
Isabella? No.
That doesn't sound too comforting. Once Rebecca assumes that kind of tone in an argument with Isabella, it usually ends with one of them walking out or both giving the other the silent treatment. Lasts for about a week at most if it's really bad, which really isn't what we need right now. I've hoped the bad blood from this morning will simply blow over, after all of us has gotten a decent rest. Should have expected things won't be the same without them as it is. Should have expected things won't be the same with them as it is with Zach and I. Turns out sleep isn't just what some of us need. Even G appears to understand it. In spite of his efforts to look as unconcerned as possible, there's a tense set on his shoulders. Nervous edge lingers in his eyes, as it occasionally flickers over where Rebecca and Isabella's voices are coming from. Doesn't want to deal with this, especially at the start of another busy week. Neither do I. Things have worked out well between them before without Zachary meddling, but the imploring gaze G directs at me leaves me with no other choice. It almost feels like he's guilting me into doing something about it. I hate that it's working.
You know how I run this pub, kid. No fist fights, no cat fights, only good booze, bad puns, and off-key singing.
It's a fucking motto right there, man.
Go fix it before it blows up in your faces. I'd hate to throw two girls out of this place over a petty argument.
It's probably not as petty if Rebecca's already shouting like that, but I give him a nod nevertheless.
Sorry about this, G.
He hums something under his breath for an answer, and waves me off, turning away and returning to his work without another word. Even with the lack of a sizable crowd, he likes to keep busy. We're the same in that regard. Can't remain still, always has to stay moving, doing something, thinking, whatever keeps the brain at work. I leave him to it shortly after. Rebecca's voice rings out once again, followed by Isabella's. A part of me wants to thank him for all the trouble he has taken for people he barely even knows. Once this is over, I should probably find some way. In the meantime, I have this immediate problem to fix. Gotta get to this before it turns into a shitstorm both of them will regret. And I know both of them well. For all of Isabella's complaints about Rebecca's bossy attitude, or how annoying Rebecca sometimes finds the other's childlike demeanor. It's a friendship they both cherish in their own way. Alright, well, hello there! Oh dear, it is time for the fight. Rebecca's already on her feet when I spot them in an almost deserted area of the pub. I'm willing to bet my entire life savings that people are staying away only because of the brewing storm. Rebecca can have quite the mood when she's crossed. Can't speak for Isabella, I rarely ever see her seething, but from what I've heard, it can be very unpleasant. The way she's glaring up at the redhead from her seat, regardless of how much the other woman towers over her right now, already says everything. Empty plates have been left neatly piled on one corner of the table they occupy, a conversation that turns sour sometime after a late lunch then. Good thing they're already done and nothing's left to be spilled. Because in the next moment, before I can approach and intervene, Rebecca slams her palm on the table. It sends the silverware clinking sharply against the surface. Isabella flinches momentarily, we both do, though she shows no indication of surrendering in the face of Rebecca's temper. Everything escalates from there.
You've already gotten us in enough trouble because of this letter ghost everything.
You're blaming me again.
And you can't expect everyone to fix your mess. You keep on putting the blame on me, but you're the one who didn't listen. All of you. If you just listened in the first place, maybe this wouldn't have happened. But you're too busy acting like you know what's best for everyone, when in fact you're the one who's being selfish.
Call her the fuck right out.
I'm the one who's selfish, yet you're still going to do what you want anyway, even if the people around you are already beside themselves with worry. This is how you've always acted since we met, and I'm tired of it. Sometimes I wish you never even came here, because all you've given us is a headache.
Fuck you.
You know why I had to come here. My dad. Your dad has nothing to do with this. It has always been you and your whiny, careless self that has always been the problem.
Maybe I should have stepped in earlier. Maybe I should have said something the moment Rebecca had slammed the flat of her hand on the table, or the second I entered the area. Either way, it's too late to act. Harsh words have already been hurled between the two. We have, when Ashton showed up at the pub's main lounge again, he caught Rebecca and Isabella in the middle of an argument. The latter insisted on going back to the mansion, which the former strongly opposed. However, before Ashton could step in, harsh words had already been said. Words more cutting than any blade, each and every one of them digging a wound too deep in the person they've been aimed at. For a long time, Isabella sits there in silence, while Rebecca stands unmoving, arms crossed and breathing heavy. Despite the lack of words between them, they're both vibrating with anger, refusing to meet the other's eyes. Ever so slowly, the atmosphere in the room turns thick and smothering. Strained air no one in the immediate vicinity, including me, dares to break, until the one's at its center does so. Rebecca definitely won't. At some point in our friendship, she has grown to become a woman firm with her opinions. She's never going to back down from this, not when she knows she has a point. Isabella, on the other hand, there's always been a certain stubbornness in her. As frustrating as it is to see sometimes, it's what has gotten her through life's hardships. Perhaps even the only thing that has. When you have nothing else, people tend to cling on to what they have within themselves instead. She also knows when to withdraw, when a struggle turns useless, a kind of awareness almost second nature to her. When enough is enough, Isabella abruptly stands and marches toward the exit. Fast, rigid steps away from the hurt and painful words they've let fly earlier. She bumps into me in her haste, the impact nearly knocking her off her feet. Instinct kicks in at the last moment, and I reach out for her, grabbing her arm in a steadying grip. Surprise flits across her face, an expression mirrored by Rebecca behind her. Neither of them have noticed me. Oh, yo! Oh my god. Ugh. Wow. Alright. I mean, personally, I want to take Isabella's side, so I'm gonna click that and see what happens.
Okay.
Alright, what do we got? We lose relationship points with Rebecca. Wow! That was a lot of points. That was a lot of points. Holy shit. Okay, so what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna save here. Then I'm gonna load that up. I wanna see exactly what that looked like. I gotta compare. Let me see. So if I go relationship. Yeah, Rebecca has a decent chunk there. That's nuts, man. So if I side with Becca...
Okay.
That's crazy how much that affects it. Alright. Well, I'm gonna save this one over here. But I want to play the one where I sided with Isabella. And we'll see how that goes. Alright. So, you okay? Rather than answer, once her shock subsides, she merely averts her gaze and hastily wipes the tears off her cheeks, like she only noticed them in that moment. Then without another word or even meeting my eyes again, she gently brushes away my hand and runs off, leaving an awkward hush in her wake. Rebecca soon slumps on the chair Isabella has just left, gingerly reaching up to press the bridge of her nose and breathing out a ragged exhale. Arguments like this have always drained both her patience and energy, usually more than her rowdy students do, despite being no stranger to it. It's no excuse for her to say those things, though. My disapproval must be clear enough on my face. Yeah, I mean, that's... beside the fact that I just like Isabella better, right? Like, that was fucking ridiculous for her to say that. When she finally glances back at me, her exhaustion immediately shifts back to annoyance, her mouth curving down into a tight frown. I cross my arm in response, waiting, a reaction verging on instinctive in the face of her irritation. Regardless of my opinions about this, I don't say anything yet. Not until she's the one willing to talk. Another minute passes while we stare each other down. But eventually she breathes out again and relaxes her rigid posture.
What do you want, Ash? If you have something to say, just tell me, or I'm going back upstairs.
Did you really have to say it like that?
Well, how do you want me to answer her? Do you want me to just let her go there and do what she wants? I know you won't be too happy if I did that.
Well, considering I was just about to do the same exact fucking thing.
That's a low blow, Rebecca. Even for you.
A little bit.
We all know she wasn't even planning on staying here this long. There was no need to bring it up if all you wanted to do was stop her.
Did you even see how she's acting? She's not a child anymore. Even my students can do better.
Becca, she'll listen if you'll just ask her properly. I know you mean well and you do have a point, but please be a little more thoughtful next time. Go think about it for a while.
Go sit in the corner. By some miracle, the whole discussion ends right there. Rebecca elects to stay silent, or at least it's how it seems when a minute or two passes and she says nothing. A rare occurrence when she almost always has something on her mind. Only an uneasy atmosphere hangs in the air when I finally decide to remove myself from the room. She doesn't stop me. Instead, something inexplicable flickers momentarily in her eyes, one that quickly disappears until only a vague notion of it remains in memory. But in that one exchange, I've caught a short, clear glimpse of what has shifted, of what's inevitable. So much has changed throughout the years. We will never be the same person we once were. And if it's for the better, we've yet to know. ... A lull has descended in the main lounge once I return. Are we ever going to the fucking mansion? Jesus Christ. G's nowhere to be seen. People continue to trickle out instead of in, and by the time I get back, only 2 tables remain occupied. Soon, these people too will be gone and the whole place will be devoid of anyone. Frankly, its current state already lends the place an entirely different vibe. Along with the soothing strum of strings and the steady beat of drums playing overhead, there's a calming sense to this. A far cry from times I've been here before. And perhaps it's for this reason why Isabella has chosen this place to retreat. She sits quietly in the furthest corner of the room, in one of the tables set right beside the windows. She usually keeps the curtain close around this hour, but a small portion of it has been pulled back, revealing the busy streets outside. The late afternoon light spills right through it, outlining her small form and pooling on the surface of the table where both her arms rest. Oh, fuck. Wonderful. Alright, I'm gonna save here. Just in case, I don't know. Maybe the ghost is gonna show up. I don't fuck... the fuck I know, man. In her hands, she flips a piece of folded paper, turning it from one side to the other without any purpose. The letter. A small frown creases her forehead while she stares at it, yet there's something oddly tranquil in the picture she has unknowingly painted. something I can't bring myself to disturb, if only for a few seconds. It's one of those moments again. The rare ones. The ones where she's too still, too quiet, a complete opposite of her usual self. But it's these that often leave a mark. Not her cheery disposition or her lively attitude, but these short, few seconds of wordless silence, when the softest sighs and the slightest movements sing louder. The smallest minuscule things that tell you about the person and her strength more than any words can express. It's these that carve a vivid memory, no matter how brief it lasts. She glares at me, annoyed, and just like that, all of it melts away. Gone is the stillness, replaced quickly by the teasing and friendly jibes. Back again to what we're used to, what's easy, what's familiar, where every truth we hope to convey regrettably goes unsaid between us. Or just say it.
You're going to destroy an important piece of evidence if you keep doing that, Belle.
But she's far from angry. A bit upset, maybe. Who wouldn't be? While I do agree with Rebecca, her words still hit below the belt. Regardless, Isabella doesn't seem like she'll start shouting at me, at least compared to every other person I've aggravated, intentional or otherwise. Some light talk may just do the trick and coax her out of this mood.
Come on. If you keep staring at the table like that, you're going to bore a hole on it. I really don't want to OG a new table. He'll pick the most expensive one and leave me begging on the streets.
Oh dear. She levels a quick glance at me, her expression dry and impassive enough to drain every color out of the room. It's as if I've just told her a terrible joke and she's expecting there'll be more of it. Really now. She needs to give me more credit than that. My jokes are funny when I want them to be.
I really don't care. I'd even take pictures and post them online. Go away, Ash. I don't want to talk right now.
Yet it sounds half-hearted at best. Like what's happening has already sapped every bit of energy in her, and that's all that's left are the words. Pretty soon, those two will lose their meaning and leave a hollow shell in their wake. It's already unusual to see her like this. Everything has already gone to shit. I'd like, at least, this one thing to stay normal. So somehow we manage. We continue for the better half of the hour, talking, joking, with her short, feeble responses and banter that never goes anywhere. But it's enough. In the grand scheme of things, amidst the chaos and death shadowing over us, it's these little inconsequential moments that matter. It's her smile, her laughter, when it finally rings, easy and free of her burdens.
Okay, I have another one.
I don't want to hear it, Ashton. Go away.
No, really, listen. I know someone who talks like an owl.
Who? Oh my god, dude. That's... You know what? That's not bad. That's not that bad. Who, Ashton? Who?
Will you leave me alone if I bite and ask who?
A pause. And then she frowns as realization slowly dawns on her. Confusion flashes fleetingly across her face before she eventually settling on a grimace.
Oh.
Suddenly, she hugs her arms closer to herself and looks away, perhaps in her best attempt to stay angry. To no avail. In a matter of seconds, her shoulders shake with laughter she's trying to contain.
You're awful, and I really hate you. Just leave.
Uh-huh. It's contagious, her mirth. Soon, I'm joining her in it, briefly forgetting every problem that has piled up and continues to weigh down on us, laughing without reservation or care, until only familiar warmth lingers once both our amusement ebbs away. Somehow, with her, these things have always come easy.
Feeling better?
A little. You're still lame.
But you're laughing right now.
Indeed.
Only because your humor is terrible.
Uh-huh.
Right. Keep telling yourself that. I know it's funny. And you know what? If you've kept frowning like that, your face might have cracked. That would have been really messy and ugly.
If glares can kill, with the one she sends my way, I'll probably be dead by now. Seeing it directed my way, it takes only a few seconds for me to realize how she might have also taken my statement. How wrong and rude it might have sounded in her ears, however unintentional it is. I've never been good with words, but that's never an acceptable excuse, is it? Suddenly taking the brunt of her anger seems less complicated than correcting or explaining myself. Nevertheless, I try.
What? Crap. Damn it, that was so not what I meant. I was just saying you look better when you're smiling.
Her glare doesn't even wane. In fact, I think it intensified, like the brewing storm. In the face of it, under the sharpness of her stare and her annoyance, I do what any person with a good sense of self-preservation does. Keep my mouth shut and shift my attention elsewhere. Crowd outside looks very interesting today. Maybe I should...
Thanks, Ash.
She utters all of it in a voice too small, too quiet. When I turn to her, only those words, her gratitude, resonate throughout the whole room. Not the soft clinking of silverware somewhere, nor the last strains of music fading into silence above us. Instead, it's the meaning behind her gaze as she holds mine that lingers. Steady, unflinching, and open. The same way she looked at me all those years ago, with bright eyes and an expression softening into a tender smile. I didn't understand it then. How easy it is for her to wear her heart on her sleeve. How she never shies away from expressing herself, even among people she barely knows. How she can go through everything without losing herself. Now it's among the hundreds, the thousands that hang unspoken between us. Trivial little things with worth still too big to put into words. Either because it's too early or because there's never really a proper time. For now, though, this'll do. Till the moment itself dwindles. Till reality pulls us back in, reminding us of the things we've set aside in its favor.
Isabella, about what happened with Rebecca earlier.
I should probably apologize to Becca. I know she only means well. And I said some really bad things.
Corners of her mouth quirks up, almost as if she's too ashamed of the things she said. Quirks up. Interesting.
Don't worry, she can be pretty stubborn, but she'll listen. Especially to you.
You think?
You're one of the few people she likes. She won't stay angry for long. I can vouch for it.
She has a point, though. Isabella freezes. In an instant, the pleasant air around us dissipates. She shifts her attention back to her hands again, both clenched so tightly that her knuckles visibly pale.
I know, Ash. I just thought we'd find something in there.
Samesies!
That if I go back, we'll get the answers we need.
Well,
I found the letter there, so maybe, right?
I guess we're gonna go together, aren't we? It's not that I don't agree with her, hell, I've been considering the same thing. It's the only lead we have, after all. But Rebecca also has a point I will always agree with no matter how desperate I am. It's not going to be a simple walk in the park. Who knows what we might find in there. If she comes with me, I won't be able to guarantee her safety. She'll be in even greater danger. Hence, alone. Exactly as I've told Zach. If there's a need to go back to that accursed place, I'm doing it on my own. Whether or not the rest of them agree with this plan is inconsequential. Their well-being is my top priority, and I'm not just about to drag them in there with me. So I tell her as much, despite the determination and desperation in her eyes. Oh, we have to get this right. All right, so hold on. So we're gonna save. We're just gonna save over here, and we have. What's our relationship with Isabella? We have like a few shy. I think this is the correct answer because this is kind of commanding and belittling, and this is just worrying for her safety. So we'll say it's dangerous.
Forget it, Belle. You're not going back to that mansion.
That was the wrong answer. Okay. Well, hold on. We don't want to do that. We do not want that at all. We do not want the wrong answer. I can't let you do that.
I can't let you do that, Belle.
That was the correct answer. Alright, that seemed kind of counterintuitive. But, that's why we have so many save files, isn't it? Alright.
Ash, the people living in that place now. They were with me during the open house. They have to know. They're in as much trouble as we are.
And Marianne's still trapped in a fucking dungeon.
I know, but it's risky. It's dangerous. We don't know what you might find in there. Or if you'll even find anything. What if you see her again? What if she goes after you? What are you going to do? For all we know, it might be a dead end. It's not worth it. To put yourself in harm's way like that.
She offers no response. Not even a form of resistance. No further argument like I've come to expect from her. Uncharacteristic. Just a silence that stretches far too thin till the air in the whole room grows heavy. In front of her, her hands still stay curled up, like it's holding onto everything she wishes to say but can't. I like to think that, yes, to some extent she understands, even if she does not entirely agree with me. The dilemma is clear in her. Otherwise, her scowl wouldn't have a deeper set to it. Her lips wouldn't be pressed in a thin line, or her hands would no longer be balled into fists. She would have pushed that argument. She doesn't, and I know she has no lack of things to say. Instead, she simply offers a nod. An acquiesce. and in a moment of boldness, perhaps insolence, I reach out for her, taking her clenched fists in mine and drawing them closer to me. She sucks in a breath, soft and sharp, but doesn't say anything, merely watching as both my hands cradle hers. Cautious, mindful, as if it's the most precious thing I've held. And again, maybe it is. Along with everything I've yet to convey.
Stop that.
Surprisingly, although the gesture has startled her, she yields, allows a touch that is far too familiar and more than what I'm willing to give most.
You're going to hurt yourself if you keep doing that.
Gently, I unfurl her fingers, flattening out each digit against my palms. Her nails have already created small dents on her skin, from how tightly she has held it close, a little more and she would have drawn blood. Deep as it is, smoothing a thumb over the tiny marks does nothing. It's a small gesture we both find comfort in amidst this chaos, and all at once the tension lifts. Her expression softens, the lines of her shoulders ease, and it is only after her lips curve up in a faint smile that I let go, giving her hand one last squeeze before returning it to her. Part of me wants to tell her, admit that it's exactly what I'm planning tonight. What good will it do, though? I've already told Zach one person is enough. Hell, simply letting someone in on the plan makes me iffy. Broadening that circle and revealing too much would just cause another pointless concern. But someone has to be aware, at least, of where I'm heading off to in case things don't pan out. Expect the worst, even if I've only intended to do a quick survey of the place. In my own words, risky. It's best that I simply leave it as it is for now. Isabella doesn't need to be burdened with the worry my entire scheme entails. I stand up as soon as footsteps shuffle from the next room, its cadence slow and hesitant. Shortly, Rebecca comes into view, clutching her hands firmly in front of her and sporting the same uncertainty in her face. She casts me a cursory look, then shifts a nervous one to Isabella, who studies her with an almost hopeful gleam in her eyes. Their fights never did last long.
Belle, can we talk? Alone?
Her interruption could not have come sooner, and I'm all the more glad for it. Whatever kind of friendship I share with the two, this remains something only for the two of them, much like my own with Zach. I'm the outsider, they don't need me here. It's all the reason I need. Muttering an excuse and flashing Isabella a quick, knowing smile, I beat a hasty exit out of the main lounge and leave them to mend things on their own. Before Isabella can say what she's been mulling over. Before the last imploring glance she directs my way forced me to change my mind. It's another lasting image that firmly etches itself in my memory, one that spurs the conscience among other things. I just hope I won't regret what I've chosen for myself tonight. Well, okay. After scolding Rebecca for her harsh tone, a concerned Ashton followed after Isabella. He found her alone in a corner of the lounge, upset. Despite agreeing with her, he gently explained why going back wouldn't be a good idea. Thankfully, she eventually acquiesced. Well, okay. Galway Shaw's Monday night crowd, although small and barely occupies a quarter of the whole pub, provides ample enough cover for anyone who wishes to leave the place unnoticed. Just exactly what I need tonight. With the lively music and chatter, slipping out, mostly unseen, becomes a piece of cake. Without much trouble, soon enough I find myself standing outside under the chilly Luxborn night. A gust of wind picks up shortly after I step out, carrying the telltale smell of an impending rain. Give it about an hour or two before it starts. So it's going to be a dark and stormy night. Great. From the looks of it, tonight will be another downpour, maybe even stronger than the one we've had this morning. On instinct, I hunch further into my jacket, hugging its thick material closer to my body, while I weave my way through the lines of empty cars in the parking lot. The letter crinkles in my pocket with each step I take, though I pay it no mind as I hurry toward my car. I nicked it minutes ago from Isabella's belongings on my way out. If this is all connected, I need this damn piece of paper with me. However ridiculous as it sounds, I'm quite sure it won't be missed either, but I can't waste time here and wait for her to find out, can I? 4 hours is all I'm giving myself to get this done. 3 if I'm inclined to go by the rules Z-Man set, but when have I ever? Regardless of how generous that is, each second's just as important as the next. So I hurry, one footstep over the other, echoing as I make a beeline for my car. But as with every plan, problems crop up at the last second. It's practically a universal rule. And it does. in the form of a lone figure waiting for me next to my car. Is it the ghost, or is it Zach? It's Becca! Interesting. How did she get out there in front of me? Rebecca turns just as I near, the corners of her mouth twitching up in a wry smile. She offers no greeting except for a slight tilt of her head. Even as my pace slows and I look at her with all the unvoiced questions in my eyes, she remains wordless, merely throwing her head back and shifting her attention up at the starless sky when I come up to stand beside her. Another gust of wind blows as she breathes out a sigh, weary, thick with something close to resignation. The breeze carries all of it away, while she hugs her arms closer to herself to keep warm, which raises the question of why she's out here. The air is already heavy with the promise of rain. With clouds obscuring the view, there's really nothing left to look at but a dark blanket of nothingness. Still, she stands here as if she's intentionally waiting for everything to fall. That or she's here for some other reason. But before I can voice a single word, express a disapproval of any kind, she raises a halting hand at me, sharply cutting off the rest of my question.
I'm not here to stop you. Wherever it is you're planning to go off tonight, I won't be able to anyway. You look like you've already made up your mind.
I have indeed.
Go back inside. It's going to rain soon. It'll probably be even heavier than the downpour we had this morning. You wouldn't want to be caught in it.
I will, in a moment. I just want to stay out here a bit for some air, away from the noise inside. Everything's been so chaotic these days. This little break is nice. Even if it means standing in the middle of a parking lot, of all places. Getting out of this mess would definitely be better, but hey, you take what you can get, right?
Sounds about right.
It'll be over soon.
Confidence in my own words surprises even me. How do I know? Why am I so sure? When in truth, what I'm about to do is a last-ditch effort. If this fails, if I don't find anything, we're back to square one. It's the last lead I have. After this, we have nothing else to go off from. Regardless, it seems to amuse her, and her laughter soon sounds above the murmur of the distant traffic and the light draft sweeping around us.
How I wish. I'll be content as long as she stops showing up in my mind whenever I close my eyes.
I think that may take some time. The brain doesn't easily forget trauma.
I can try, but, you know, it also did a lot to us.
Tell me about it. The back of my head's still smarting from my fall last night.
That's not what she means, dude.
Not that kind. I'm talking about us. As people. I hate to admit it, but this whole deal with the ghost, with the curse, it also brought out an ugly side to us. To all of us. And it made me realize plenty of things. About myself. About us.
Rebecca trails off. Suddenly a pensive expression spreads across her face. I've seen it countless times before. And every time I see it on her, it's usually followed by a memory, a silly story, or even something embarrassing I've said from childhood. Unlike me, who'll much rather forget, she remembers each of them so easily. After a short bout of silence, when she smiles, I know it's one of those times again.
Do you remember that one time, back in secondary?
Oh, is this the fucking conversation we had on the phone when she was about to die?
Which one? You did a lot of dumb things back then. Well, I did, but you get the point.
Mandy.
I think it is.
I thought you still don't like her.
Oh, no, it's not. No, it's not. Never mind.
Don't tell me you've kept in contact with her. Are you guys friends now or something?
Never mind, it's not.
Oh, no. We do see each other sometimes. On the way to work or when I go out for lunch, but it's nothing like that. We're not friends. Not in this lifetime. I don't think so. I don't think we'll ever get along, but if it wasn't for her, we wouldn't even be friends, yeah? You stood up for me that day. And from then on, things have changed.
She makes it sound like I'm some sort of a hero. Mandy was in the wrong, of course. I'll defend her. If no one's going to stand up for her, who else will? Chances are, it would have escalated and who knows. Maybe she would have stopped going to school or transferred. Any decent human being with an ounce of sense should know better. I acted because I know what I'm doing is what's right. It's as simple as that. Yet she smiles as if it's worth more than that. A fondness that goes beyond nostalgia.
I guess what I'm trying to get at is, this time, I don't want this to go unsaid. You know, just in case something happens. Ash,
Oh, fuck.
I've always been in
Oh
love
my
with you.
god. Shit. Are we gonna... Oh god, are we gonna have to choose? Are we gonna have to have a choice? Oh my god, I feel like a choice is coming, and I'm gonna have to be really, really mean to Becca, or not be really, really mean to Becca. I don't know. She says it so plainly, holding my gaze, and in a voice too frank that her omission stuns me into silence. Like the wind has suddenly been knocked out of me in one fell swoop. No words will form, not even a single coherent thought, as the meaning of her words bear down on me. Nevertheless, she continues, desperate to express everything she has kept to herself all these years. This is what the fondness is. Why, for her it weighs heavier than any feelings of nostalgia can carry.
Since that time in secondary, since I made that promise to never leave, I've always truly loved you.
Afterwards, there is a relief, a weight suddenly being lifted from her shoulders after so long. She closes her eyes and lets out a breath. When she looks back to me, oh, fuck this. There's nothing but hope in them. Eyes that are searching for an answer. Oh god, I'm gonna have to make a choice. Facing the sincerity behind her words, I find myself grasping, scrambling for the words. Wow, oh. Is it because of this? I wonder if it's because of this. Interesting. That's interesting. Oh, this is gonna be a heart-wrenching. This is gonna be really bad. Oh god, because as much as this pains me to admit, I can't give her the same affection she's asking from me. We might have spent so many years alongside each other. Hell, we practically grew up together. But that never automatically means I'll ever hold for her feelings that go beyond the boundaries of friendship. I do appreciate her presence in my life. I'm more than glad that she has stuck with me even through the toughest moments, even when she finds me difficult or aggravating. I really wonder if okay, two questions. Do I have to have higher relationship with Becca than with Isabella, or do I have to have max relationship with Becca? I don't know. I'm curious about that. Choices matter. Let me tell you, choices matter. I guarantee you this would have gone very differently had I made different choices throughout the game. However, it's really all there is to it. She's a close, important friend to me, but nothing more.
Rebecca, I
draw in a breath, ragged, unsure, uncertain how and which words to put together, so it will hurt her less, so the wounds they might leave won't be as deep or scar. In the end, I can only utter an apology.
I'm really sorry, Becca.
Stark refusal. Shit balls. Oh my god.
I'm glad, I'm happy you feel that way, but I can't. I can't. There's already someone that I'm in love with.
Yeah, well...
Someone else.
Yeah, well... That's the way it goes, I guess. Ugh, man. It takes all of my willpower to force myself to even look at her. For sure there will be hurt, maybe she'll even be angry, and I don't hold it against her. Well, at least she's getting the closure that she fucking needs. She can fucking move on. And sure enough, when our eyes meet again, her mouth is already settled in a tight line, and she assumes a rigid pose. There's a sharpness to her gaze, but behind it is pain undeniable, searing, something that she tries to hide by hastily looking away and stepping back.
Becca, I know this...
It's all right, Ashton. You don't have to explain anything.
Yeah, but you should... I should...
I told you, no need. It's not like I didn't have an idea or anything. When you think about it, it's really quite obvious. The way you've always looked at her said everything. Anyway, let's just end this conversation here, all right? I don't think it would do us both any good. This is going to get really awkward if we keep at it. When all has been said and done, at least I told you, right?
Yes. Right. Because now you can get closure and move on. And not have to deal with this gigantic fucking anchor around your neck your entire fucking life.
Maybe I can finally let this whole thing go.
Yes.
Who knows?
That's exactly right. Oh my god. This is fucking horrible.
Thanks for hearing me out, though. I won't keep you long. I know you have things to do. Just promise me you won't do anything dumb, alright?
Well, I mean, I'm kinda gonna go do something dumb, but I probably won't die. What do we have here? We have... oh my god, that face. Ashton left for the mansion at nightfall, but when he got to his car, he found Rebecca waiting for him. Fearing she might not have the chance, Rebecca confessed her feelings. However, Ashton couldn't reciprocate. Visibly hurt, Rebecca left it at that. She only wanted him to know. Well, alright. She doesn't wait for an answer. Instead, she flashes me one last strange smile before walking away, while the only thing I can do is watch her retreating back. In that one moment, one conversation, something also breaks between us. Something irreparable, but was it ever really there to begin with? Because if your friendship was always based on that, I don't know. That couldn't have lasted forever, right? I mean, I don't know. What the fuck do I know? Different kind of regret. Haunting me amidst the silence of my car as I drive off and leave it all behind. Within 10 minutes, I'm driving out of Luxburn and heading straight for Anslem Village. In the distance, flashes of lightning light up the horizon, white and sharp against the black curtain of the night. Thunder threatens with a rumble, seconds later echoing long across the sky. And with one last roar, the skies open in earnest. Oh, it's past midnight. Oh, no. God. Oh, good God. I want to keep going. I really want to keep going, but there's no way that this is going to be short. There's no way this is going to be short. This is going to be long and involved, and we are 43 minutes in as it is. I really, really hate to leave it here, but I have to leave it here. Because there's just not enough time. Because I know there's not going to be a quick scene going in. It's going to be long and involved. So, as much as I don't want to do it, I'm going to have to leave the episode here. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this episode, please be sure to leave a like and a comment down below, letting me know what you thought of that scene. Is this a good thing for Becca? Do you ship Ashton with Becca or Isabella? All that stuff, all that great stuff. Also, make sure you're subscribed for more episodes of The Letter. We're definitely getting into some really good stuff. It's coming. We're at the mansion. It's past midnight on Halloween. Things are going to happen. And we still have Luke's chapter to go. So, who even knows what that's going to be like? So next time, against all better judgment, we are going to be entering the Ermengarde mansion in search of a fucking ghost. We are officially Luigi, going ghost hunting. So thank you guys. I hope you're excited for next episode, because I am. I will see you then. Goodbye.